guys, welcome back to today's video. Welcome back to my channel, I would say. So today we're going to be talking about some writing strategies and some things that you can do when you're writing. When you're writing at school, because I know I do writing stuff at school, and I'm sure a lot of you do. And if you're journaling, you're writing a paragraph, and you're just writing anything, and you want your story to be as neat as you can use these strategies. So the first strategy is cups. So the first thing you have to do in cups is make sure you have capital letters, but at the first word of every sentence has to be capitalized. So for example, if I write, so I'm just going to move the camera here so you guys can see. All right. Now I'm going to write the cat is napping. So example, that's a sentence. So if I'm writing that sentence, I would have to have my T capitalized. And I wouldn't have to have the word cat, is, and napping. Those words don't have to be capitalized. But only the T is the only letter that should be capitalized in your sentences. The next one is U, and U is for understanding. You want to make sure your sentence makes sense and others can read it. So for example, if I'm writing sentence, the cashier gave me cash. So of course I have my T capitalized, but I also want to make sure others can read my sentence. Others can read my sentence. So look, if I just write slumpity slumpity slump, no one can read it. No one can read what the sentence is. I want to have neat handwriting when I'm writing so that others can read it. Then for P is punctuation. You want to make sure, so we're going to talk about all the punctuation symbols because period is not the only one. Period is one. So you draw a period, like a little circle period, then question mark, comma. I am not good with commas, so don't judge me if I don't do a comma right. But I just do it like this. It's all really like, I'm not good with commas. You could do comma. I don't know how to pronounce. The excited one.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. So you want to do it like that because no period isn't the only one that we really need. Period. Yeah, so if I'm just writing the girl is playing, I could just put a period in that sentence. I don't need a quotation mark, exclamation point. I don't need a question mark. I don't need a comma in that sentence. I just need a period. Now if I'm writing, what is your favorite color? What type of punctuation do you think I need in that sentence? A question mark, because we're asking a question. You always want to have great punctuation when we're writing. Now, this sentence is going to be a little bit different. Now, I'm just writing I won. But I still want to have punctuation, not just a boring period. We do not need a comma. We don't need a question mark because we're not asking a question. And we don't, what other quotation point,
Quotation mark.
quotation mark. We need a
Oh, those are exclamation points.
punctuation.
Yeah.
Point. We need that because we're excited that we won. Now there's different things. Now we haven't talked about this. Another strategy is to use arms. Now arms is only when you want to fix something. Now the first letter in arms is a letter A. And A is to add. So if you want to add a word in your sentence, or if you want to add something, and then R is to remove. So if you want to remove a word in your sentence, you can remove it, and you can erase it and make it something different. And then M is to move, so you can switch words around. Or so, for example, if I wanted this to be here or this to be here, just you can remove. And then S is the substitute. So if I wanted to use the word, for example, if I wanted to use the word good in my sentence, what word do you think I could use to replace the word good? I could use awesome. I could use perfect. Nobody's perfect. I just want to say perfect, fantastic. Let me think.
Excellent.
Excellent. You can use a lot of different ones. So you don't have to do arms. It's just when you want to fix your sentence. Oh, my iPad just tipped over. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my iPad just tipped over. Now, if you want to fix your sentence, you could use an eraser. So, for example, we're going to talk about the comma for a second. So, if I'm making a list of something, let's say in a sentence I write, my favorite foods are pizza, tacos, sausages, and cheese. I would have to put a comma. Or maybe if I'm writing a paragraph and I want to use a starting word like first, next, then, after that, or as you can see, I would have to put a comma. And I wanted to make sure the first letter in my sentence is capitalized. Now we're going to talk about the parts of a sentence in our next video. We're going to talk about the parts of a sentence and what we need to make sure we're having. Today we're just explaining what we need in the sentence, what we should be checking for. Okay, so for example, if I'm writing a paragraph, which is 4 or 5 sentences, and let's say I wanted to use a starting word, like first, then, next, as you can see, after that. So let's say I want to write first. Now, I'm not good with commas. I just do it like that. So I just try my best to do commas. And then I would write my sentence. So first, well, always in a sentence, you want to have the topic sentence, what your sentence is about. And what your sentence is about is called the subject. Now, what the subject is doing is the product. I don't know how to say it, but the subject is what your sentence is about. Now first, now my favorite animal is dogs, so we're gonna write about dogs. Dogs, because they are cuddly. But I made a sloppy U. Now, when you're writing a sentence, you always want to make sure you're spelling the words correctly. Now I'm going to write another starting word. My next starting word is going to be next. Next, I like dogs because let me think. Oh, sorry, it's my iPad. Sorry, everyone. I know the camera doesn't really have good spacing right now. Because, let me think. Why else do I like dogs? Oh! Because they are fluffy. Now my next starting word is going to be then. No. Now when you're writing a story, you want to use that. Let me think. Oh, maybe third. That's also a good starting word. Third. I like dogs because they, let me think. Oh. So I wrote my third reason that I like dogs. Because they're fun to play with. Now let's stop. Let's freeze for a second. Now we need our conclusion sentence. Like our wrap-up sentence. So our wrap-up sentence could be like, this is why, these are some reasons that I like dogs. Or maybe whatever you're writing about. So my wrap-up sentence is going to be, these, I'm going to make sure I have a capital T. These are some reasons I like dogs. Now, at the end of our story, we need to check if we make sure we have capitalization, our sentence makes sense, we have punctuation, and we have correct spelling. So first, we need to make sure that we have capital letters at the start of our sentence. So it says, first, I like dogs because they are cuddly. Okay, so let's check in that first sentence. Do I have capitalization? Does my sentence make sense? Do I have punctuation? And we also need to make sure that we have correct punctuation, not just any punctuation. We need to make sure we have correct punctuation. And we need to make sure we're spelling our words correctly. So I have a capital, so I'm going to put a check mark around the F. because I have that correctly. I capitalized the F. Now we need to make sure that our sentence makes sense. First, I like dogs because they are cuddly. Does that make sense to you? Like, could you read that? That makes sense. Wait, I'm actually gonna put question around our sentence makes sense. Now we need to make sure that we have correct punctuation and that we do. So at the sentence, first I like dogs because they are cuddly. I have a period. That's correct punctuation. So we're good. Now we need to make sure that we have correct spelling. That we make sure we have correct spelling. Let's see. First is spelled okay. It looks like I have all the words in my paragraph spelled correctly. So that is good. We have correct spelling. Now we have to go back and see if I want to add, remove, move around, or substitute anything. It looks like everything is good to me. I think my sentence is good. So now that we checked your sentence, so when you're writing in school or wherever you're writing, make sure you have correct punctuation, you have capitalization where it's supposed to be, and that your sentence makes sense, and that you have correct spelled words. So always make sure that you check off everything, and then you also go back and see if you want to add, remove, move around, or substitute anything that you want in your sentence. Have a good writing practice today, everyone. Bye.